Hey guys, welcome to part 7, and in this video we're going to be starting the actual graphical part of the Uno game. The first thing you're going to need to do is download this IDE called NetBeans 11, and that's what we're going to be using to create this. You're going to go to this website and then you're going to download the version you need for your operating system, and then once you download that and get it all installed, we'll go to the next part. So now that you got it installed, it should look something like this, and pretty much what you're going to do is go to File, start a new project, and then you can do Java with Maven, Java application, just hit next, and then we can just call the project Uno. And then all the defaults are fine, just hit finish. And then once you get that started, you're going to have all these options. The only one we're going to look at right now is source packages. Just double click that, and then you're going to go to this folder. So then all you're going to do is right click that and go to new, and then we're just going to do Java class. And then we're actually going to need to move our files from what we did earlier into this new project. So just call this Uno card and then right click that. And then all we're going to do is get our code from the Uno card class that we created already. And you're just going to copy and paste it into here. So go right here, same thing, go back to here, copy and paste this, create a new file, Uno deck, and then for the last one, the game class. So that's all you got to do for that. So I noticed one thing that I actually need to fix is in our game class, we need to go to our submit player card method, and instead of having actual and expected, this should be card.getColor, and then the expected should be expected or valid color. And then instead of being actual, this should be card.getValue, and this should be valid value. And in addition to that, we have to just copy and paste this message that we wrote and put it in for message. That. And then we just delete that. We should be good there. And then same thing for this. Copy and paste. Put that in for there. And then we should be all good in the game class. And now the next thing we need to do is create a new JFrame form in our folder. So just click JFrame form, and then we're going to call this menu. So this is going to be the menu for our Uno game. So right here, pretty much we have the design. So NetBeans has this really cool feature where instead of having to code out and using like things like Swing or JavaFX, you can just design it using this like drag and drop and just clicking, really easy user interface stuff. So we can just make this, let's say 600, and then we can make this 400, or that's good enough. Alright, so now this is pretty much just a blank canvas for like how like the menu of our game. So the first thing we're going to do is add a JPanel, and using this J panel we can pretty much just add other things on top of it, so like buttons and text and things like that. So just size it to the same thing that we had the background as, and then first thing we're going to do is add some text. So look for swing controls and text field. So then you can just click it on there, and then we are going to change the font. You can pick any font you like. It shows a preview of the font in the bottom. I'm just going to use this font, and we're going to do size 36. That looks good to me. And then we're going to change the size of this button, or this text field. Alright, so if you double click something, it's going to take you to the source code, but don't freak out, just go back to design. And then if you right click it, you can edit the text, and then we're just going to put Uno. And that should be good. You can change the size of this, and then move it up to the top. So the next thing we're going to do is add a button. So just click button from the swing controls, and then we'll just line it up like that. And then we're going to right click, edit text, and this is going to be the play button. So when they click this, they'll be able to play Uno. And then we're going to change the size of this to, we'll just have it the same width. And then that looks fine. So then right click. Okay, we already have that. So now we can move on to our next button. So click that, go to button, and then this can be like our exit button. So I'm just going to scroll down, resize this, and that makes it really easy to size it because it'll just snap to the size of the other buttons. And then right click, edit test, and then exit. Oh yeah, so we're going to change the font on this. So use the same font as last time, keep everything the same, size 36. Same thing over here, font, semi-bold, plain, 36. So another thing I noticed is that the font is kind of towards the left. So if you want to center it, all you have to do is just click on the text, and then horizontal alignment, change that from leading to center, and then just save. And now it's all centered. And as of right now, our buttons don't do anything. If we click on them when we launch our game, they're not going to do anything. We just created the button, and then we just put some text on it. So first thing we're going to do is create our exit button, since it's going to be the easiest. So all you have to do is click on it and then go to source. And then this is going to take you to the action performed, and pretty much in here you can write what the actual code is for what happens when you click the button. So to exit, there's a couple things we can do, but I think the easiest thing to do is just write system.exit, and then inside of here 0. So pretty much what system.exit does is it closes the program, and then you can put 0 or 1. If I remember correctly, I think 0 means that the program just closes with no errors, and then if it's 1, it means there was like an error or something. But I'm just going to put 0 because I know that's going to work. So now moving on to the next part, go back to design, and then we're going to right click our package, and then we're going to create a new JFrame form again, and we're going to call this one add player names. And pretty much before we actually get to the actual Uno game, when you press the play button, we're going to let the user or whoever's playing enter in the names of who's playing, and then add up to a certain amount of players, and then click done, and then the game's going to start. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to change the size of this. We'll do 650, and then we're going to make this to 400. If I can get it. Okay, yeah. And then we're going to add a J panel, put in the top left corner, and then it should be able to snap to the edges. 650, 400. Alright, cool. So just save that for now, and then we're going to go back to that later. But now go back to our menu class, and then double click the play button, and now we're going to be able to write the code for what this button does. And it's actually pretty simple. Not as simple as the exit button, but it's going to be pretty easy to do this. So this button doesn't actually do much. All it's going to do is create a new screen, and then it's going to get rid of the old screen. So the new screen that we want to display is going to be the adds player name screen. So you just do new add player names dot set visible and then true. So that's just going to display the add player names class, which is what we just created. We didn't add much to it, but we created the class. And then, so that's going to show that screen. But then we're going to want to get rid of this menu screen because we don't need any more. So we can do that by writing this dot dispose. And then that is going to get rid of that screen. And so now we're going to actually start designing the add players names class. So we already have the JPanel on here. So first thing we're going to do is add some text. Where is it? Text field. So we're just going to put this right here, and then we're going to edit the text, and we're just going to say add the names of the players. And then we are going to change the size of this, semi-bold 36, and we're going to stretch that out. So that looks good like that. And then we are going to add some buttons to the bottom. J button. One right here. And then we're going to add another one right here. Let's line those up. We'll stretch that out a little bit. And then click this. Right click it. Edit the text. And then this is going to be a save button. And then right click this, and this is going to be a done button. And then we're going to change the size of these, so just stretch it out. Same thing with this. And then stretch that out a little bit. And then for the next part, you're going to create another text field. We're going to put that right here. And okay, go back to design, right click this. And we'll just say something like name of the player. That's good. Going to change this to semi-bold 36. Actually, we're going to make this a little bit smaller because we're actually going to have to put something on the side of this. So maybe 18 would be better. Okay, I don't know how that didn't save. Okay, name of the player. Change that. And then we actually need to add the colon. Okay, actually keep that lined up. And then the next thing we need to add is a text field. So put that right here. And then I just realized that these two other things need to be changed to JLabel. So we're going to go back and do that. Pretty much just have that like that. And then edit text. And then we're just going to make that empty. Save that. So we're going to change these to actually, we're going to change these to JLabels. So just delete that. And then go to label right here. Change this to 36, semi-bold. go. Add the names of the players. Just move that. And then this, delete that as well. It should be JLabel. Change this to 36. Name of the player. And then this one should actually be 18. I have to redo that. Name of the player. Alright, now that that's sorted out, move on to the next part. So the next thing we need to do is move these buttons actually farther down, because when somebody saves their name in the game, we're going to display it on a JLabel. So right here we can have one, right here we can have one, and then another one right here, and then one more right here. So pretty much this is where the names are going to be displayed, so we can just change the text to, let's say, 14. Just make that empty. Make all these texts empty. So when people enter their names in, we can save them, and then the names will be displayed at those spots instead of, you know, the default text. So the next thing we're going to do is make these labels. So on each component we can see like what's on it. So on the J panel we have all these buttons, the text field, and these JLabels. But just to make this easier to understand, the JLabel 3 through 6 are where we're going to display the names. So we're going to change them to something like, let's do player ID 1 label, and then we're going to change this to player ID 2 label. Same thing for this, player ID 3 label, and player ID 4 label. So this Uno game is going to be up to 4 players. If you wanted to do more players, you can add more labels, and then the code that we're going to write, you just write it for up to as many players as you want. But we're going to keep it for 4 players just to keep this simple and not make this too long. So now we're going to go to the save button and start writing the code for it. And actually, before we start writing the code, we're going to make our lives easy. So we are going to also change the name of these variables. So right click it and then just write save button, and then we're going to make this, call this done button. And now we're going to go and write the code for this. So source, and then you can just get rid of this. So the first thing we're going to need to do is check if the text box is empty, because when we're going to write text in the text box and then we're going to click the save button, and then it's going to display the name and save it. So we want to check to see if the box is empty, or just any type of like error checking that we need to do. So pretty much if the box is empty or if they don't type anything in. So if what is this called? Alright, we're also going to change the name of this then. So we're going to call this player ID text box. Okay, so why is this being complicated? Alright, there we go. Change variable name. We'll call this PID text box. Now we're going to go here. We're going to say if PID text box dot get text dot is empty. So if it's empty, we're going to write a message using a JLabel, and we're going to create a new JLabel. Please enter in a name. And then getting an error, just add this import, and then we're going to say we have to set the font so it looks nice. So new font, Arial, font.bold, and then 48. And then J option pane, show message, null. We don't need all that. Null message. And that's all we need for that. And we'll say else. Okay, we're going to scroll down. String name equals. So now from the text box, we need to get what the player wrote. So we're going to create a string variable called name, and then how we get the text from the text box is say pid text box dot get text dot trim. In case there's any leading spaces, we don't want any spaces in the name. And then we're going to say player IDs dot add name. Alright, and we didn't add the player IDs in yet, so let's go do that. So we're going to go to the top of the class, and we're going to write public ArrayList of string player IDs. And then inside of the constructor, we can just put player IDs equals new ArrayList. So just declaring and initializing. Save that. Pretty sure we need to import this ArrayList, so just let it import. And then we're going to create one method for returning this as our player IDs as a string array. So public string array, so that's what we're returning. Get pids, and then we're going to say string pids equals player IDs dot to array, and then new string array of size player IDs dot size, and then we're going to return it. So this is pretty much just returning our ArrayList player IDs that we created right here, and it's just turning it to an array, and then we're making sure that the size of the array is the same size as our ArrayList, and then we're just returning it. So that is what we're going to use if we ever need to return our ArrayList as a string array. So now we're back to our save button method, and pretty much we're just going to continue it. So now we're going to say inside of our else block, we're going to say if player IDs dot size is equal to 1, set the label, set text, player IDs dot get 0. And that's just gonna set the text for, or that is going to set the text for our PID1 label. And then we're gonna say else if, and this is gonna get a little bit repetitive, player IDs dot size, the size is 2, then the label, so this is gonna be the same, and then pretty much the same thing, except this is going to be 1 and this is going to be 2. fix that. And then you can just copy and paste this, and then same thing for 3 and 4, so like that. And we'll say PID3 label, set text, player IDs, get the second element from that array list, copy and paste this. And then same thing, the size is 4, and we're going to write PID4 label set text player IDs dot get 3, and now we need to do some error checking. So if the player IDs, the size is greater than 0 and the player ID's size is less than 5, we're going to create a JLabel. We're just going to copy and paste this so we don't have to rewrite this code. Just indent that and then say, so if it's greater than 0 and it's less than 5, then we're just going to say successful save. And then we're going to, after we do that, so like they'll click the save button and then pretty much it'll save that player's name and then it's going to display it, but we need to reset the text box itself. So like where we have name of the player, this is going to be like filled in with whatever they wrote, so we're going to need to clear the box after they save. So they'll click this button, save, it'll say successful save, we need to clear that box again. So we can just do that by writing PID text box dot set text and then setting it to an empty string. And then the next thing we're going to do is say if the player IDs dot size is equal to 5. So like if you wanted to do like 8 players, then you'd make this 9, you'd make this 9, and you'd make this 9, because that'll let you go up to 8 players. But we're just going to make this 4 players. So like if it gets to 5, we're not going to let them add any more players. So we're going to say player IDs dot remove name, and then we're going to say we're going to write another message, pretty much just letting them know they've exceeded the limit. So instead of saying successful save, we'll say there can only be between 2 to 4 players. And then, yeah, that looks good. Save your work. And then we're going to do the done button. Okay, where's the done button? So actually go back to design and then double click the done button and then it'll create that for you. So right here we're going to finish the done button. So first thing we need to do is make sure people aren't trying to finish or click done before they have enough players. So first thing we're going to do is write if player IDs dot size is equal to 1, or if the player ID size is 0. So if that is true, then we're just going to create another JLabel. So we'll get this from earlier, copy and paste that. Make sure that's lined up. And we'll say, instead of that message, say there must be at least 2 players. And then that looks good. And then, so if there aren't enough players, we're going to say there must be at least 2 players. But if there is 2 players, or between 2 and 4 players, then we're going to do this. So we're going to get rid of the current screen, this.dispose, and then we're going to display the next screen, which is going to be the class we're going to make next time, but it's going to be called game stage. And then you're going to pass in player IDs, and then you're going to set it to visible and then true. So you're going to get an error for this, but that's okay because we're going to make the class for it next time. But that's going to be all for this video. Thanks for watching. If it's helping you, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.